Joining us now is Bill Lambert, the West Bloomfield High School snowboarding coach, to talk to us about their teams in this season and their exciting journey to the state meet. Bill, thanks so much for joining us today.
Maddie, thanks for having us.
So, Bill, could you tell our audience first about your journey through coaching at West Bloomfield High School in the snowboarding, and also how long you've been with the snowboarding teams at West Bloomfield High School?
Well, there's a lot of people don't even know there's a high school snowboarding league. It's probably been around 25 years. Our team started 7 years ago. I've had triplet daughters that were looking for a winter sport. So they went to the ski meeting. They thought, this isn't for me. And then they said, well, maybe we can get a snowboarding team. Well, I don't know anything about snowboarding. We didn't have a coach. We didn't have a team. We didn't have any money. But Eric Pierce, the athletic director, said, look, if you can get it rolling, let's do this. So that's how it started 7 years ago. We got a coach, Cody Anderson. He's fantastic. Really does a lot for the team. The kids love him. Probably one of the better boarders around. So he handles all that stuff, and I just do the administrative stuff and get it rolling.
Bill, could you talk a little bit about this season? You guys, both for the boys and the girls snowboarding teams, they had a great season. Can you talk about the beginning of the season and how both teams did a little bit better in practice and got to that state meet?
Well, a lot of teams in the league have way more kids than we do. I mean, there's Lakeland has 70 boarders. Walled Lake has actually 3 high schools that compete together as one. So it's hard for us to even get in there. You have to have 10 varsity boys and 5 varsity girls. So we literally ended up with 10 boys, which means there's no margin for error. And during races, there's crashes, people get concussions, you lose kids all the time. So we survived with 10. We probably had 7 varsity girls, which again, since you need 5 to race, that makes it kind of tough. But we got through it, finished the league in 3rd place for girls, 4th place for boys. That's kind of where we always do. So our expectations were, well, let's see if we can get to the state meet. We've never done it before, but it's always your goal.
And Bill, can you talk about, for our viewers that maybe are not familiar with the types of races that they do for snowboarding, could you give us some insight into the type of events that the kids participate in?
This is actually border cross. When you watch the Olympics, you'll see like Shaun White doing half pipe, or maybe Chloe Kim, and some of the other people do big air, it's called. Actually, Kyle Mack from West Bloomfield took a 2nd in big air. That's all like tricks. We do actually races. 5 people race down the hill at the same time. There's a ton of crashes, very exciting. You're trying to get your first lane, and if you get out ahead, usually you'll be okay. But a lot of people decide, well, I'm going to race from the back. When everybody crashes, I'll just go around them. So that's what SBX did. It's called SBX Border Cross. And we have a local guy, Jake Vetter, who raced in the Olympics and took 6th. He was a state champion from Pinckney a while ago. He just got back.
And then, Bill, could you talk about both of your teams making it to the state meet? How did that feel for you guys, especially with a team that's a little bit smaller than the others that they're competing against?
Well, you watch the race. Each kid races 3 times. So you have literally 30 races for the boys, because you have 10 varsity, and 15 for the girls. So after the first cycle, we're in 3rd place. We're not thinking anything. Then for the boys. After the 2nd cycle, suddenly we were in the lead, and I kept thinking, well, this can't be right. I mean, how can we be in the lead? It turns out the crashes, the disqualifications, somehow our kids just kept rolling through, the boys, that is. And then they had to do well in the last run, and they did, and they won. We were dumbfounded. Then the girls just blew everyone away. I mean, these are people that beat them all year. But once you get down to one race or one meet, it's a little easier. It's hard over the season with as few riders that we have, but the ones we do have, we're pretty good, especially the girls.
And Bill, could we talk about the girls now? The West Bloomfield girls snowboarding team won the state title this year, which was a huge accomplishment for those girls that were competing. Can you talk about some of these snowboarders that made an impact in that state meet? We had a couple girls who are actually racing nationals, because there's quite a bit of levels. But these girls are really good. They're right now out in Colorado racing nationals. Megan Nylander, Audrey Phipps. But we had 2 girls that won every single race at the state meet, which really solidified our win.
that would be Sydney Vag and Sophia Nelson, or Elson rather. We needed those wins because it was really close. After the first run, we were in first, surprisingly. After the second runs, we were two, but after the third, it really got close. It really came down to the last race of the whole night. We had Raina Freeman had to come in 2 places above the Lakeland girl, and she did. We won. It wasn't by much, but we won.
And then, Coach, what do you say to these students when they're racing and, you know, it's a bit stressful, especially too when you have a team that's a little bit smaller than others? What were some of those conversations that you had with these student athletes about racing and then afterwards winning that state title?
We really try to keep them calm. Like our number 1 boy, Jordy Kyle, he's pretty calm, but he's also very aggressive, and you kind of have to be. And these kids have to race. Since we only have 10, they have to race in levels probably way higher than they should be. So we just try to keep them relaxed. I don't say a whole lot, but the last 2 races, like, go down, get your line, because you have to have the right line. Sometimes there's grooves, you try to avoid that, but if you get the right line and you get out in front, you could win. Then afterwards, we were all just shocked. Then you have Jake Vetter, who I previously mentioned, Olympian, who just came in 6th 2 weeks ago, giving them their medals. So it was like, it was just a surreal experience.
And Coach, as we wrap up here, for looking into the next season, what do you guys hope for all of these returning student athlete snowboarders that will be competing again to go to the state meet and maybe win a state title?
Well, we're hoping that this enthusiasm carries forward. I know we have a lot of freshmen coming up. We can't live with 10 people. It's just not much. We're losing a lot of girls, but we still have 2 of the best. So if you can fill in a couple spots, maybe they can pull it off again. But I think the boys, now that they broke through, everyone starts to believe it, you know?
Well, Bill, it was a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations to both the girls and the boys team.
Thank you. Appreciate it.